Hello, welcome to episode 66 of the Fluffy Fibres podcast, the French podcast in English on sewing, knitting and occasionally spinning a handmade wardrobe from head to toe. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome here. My name is Isabelle and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Fluffy Fibres. You will find the show notes for all of the podcast episodes on my blog, which is fluffyfibres.com. And you can also, if you're a knitter, you can also find a group for the podcast on Ravelry. So thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for your patience. I certainly wasn't expecting for it to be so much time between episodes, but the past few months have been incredibly busy for me with work, and I just haven't found any sort of sufficient time to record a full episode for you. So I've missed it really very much, but it just absolutely hasn't been possible at all. Normally after Christmas, so in the new year, my schedule should be a little less crazy, so I do hope I can resume podcasting more regularly. Yes, until the end of the year, it's just going to be this crazy hectic rhythm. And actually today we have the rain and stormy weather to thank for my appearance. Basically, we are having very intense storms today, and it's even worse in the area where I work, so I couldn't take the train to work this morning. So yeah, so it means I had this extra time for once. Instead of always running around, never having enough time to do everything I should, I just had this little chunk of time, and I just thought it was the perfect opportunity to record an episode this morning. So it does mean though that the light is going to decrease. It's going to grow darker and darker. The storm should be at its worst, I think, around midday. So I started really early this morning, as soon as I could, to record. So hopefully it will be okay. You still will be able to to see me and to see my makes. But yeah, I certainly wasn't expecting. Last time I recorded, which I think was early September, I recorded a knitting themed episode, and I really thought I would be able to film the sewing pendant to that episode really fast, and it just turned out I couldn't. There absolutely wasn't time for a variety of reasons, but yeah, it's been a really full past few months for us, for me especially, and so I'm doing really my best. I really wish I could podcast more, but it's just not possible for me at the moment. So yes, today's episode is going to be devoted to sewing, because I do have a lot of sewing to share, even though I haven't had much time to sew in the past few months. Actually, I think the last time I shared about my sewing was, I think, in June or July, perhaps. So obviously it's been a few months, so I do have a few things accumulated to show today. So it's going to be quite a full episode, and I do have a lot of upcoming projects as well, which are super exciting, that I really did want to talk to you about. So today's episode is going to include my cup of tea, a handmade wardrobe, all my finished makes, during the summer and autumn, and my current projects, and then all my future plans. So yes, it's going to be, I guess it's going to be a rather long episode, so do make yourself a nice hot cup of whatever you enjoy drinking, and grab your knitting if you're a knitter, and or anything you've been making, and let's do this together. So for my cup of tea today, I chose a cup that actually matched my my cardigan. I'm crazy like that. I'm drinking an infusion which is from the English tea shop, which is called, well, in France anyway, it's called Super Berries. And so it's an infusion of strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, all organic, and it's really lovely. So I really like this one. For some reason I really like this one in the winter. Not sure why, but I really enjoy it. And so for my handmade wardrobe today, I'm wearing my Agnes dress, which is a hack of the Agnes top by Tilly and the Buttons, and the hack is explained on their website actually. So I made this to go to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year, so in March, and over it is one of my latest makes, which is a Blackwood cardigan, which I really love. I absolutely love this. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to try and, yeah. So it has deep pockets, it's very long, it's as long as the dress actually, and it's super cozy, and I really like the combo with this dress actually. So I'll be talking more about this in a minute. So for my finished makes, I have 6 finished makes. One of them I won't be able to show you, but I'll be able to talk about it nevertheless. So my oldest make, which I haven't shared yet with you, is my Miosotis dress by Deer & Doe. So I shared it on Instagram already, and I should really blog about it as well. I really do love this dress very much. So it's a very loose fitting cotton dress with gathers at the waist, lots of gathers at the waist, and then gathers at the bottom as well, the ruffle at the bottom. And the top of it is like a shirt dress with a mandarin collar, and I made it in this lovely cotton like needle cord, like a very fine needle cord, which I really like. It's actually white and blue, so it looks white, but it's it's very light blue actually also. Hopefully you can see that. But I really do like this dress very much. I had a lot of qualms about it because it's so, and I'll be of course posting pictures of myself wearing it as well, because it's so wide, and there is so much fabric, and the fabric is not the thinnest, because I had a hard time. I wanted a really like almost white, very light colour for this dress. I really envisioned it in a very light blue, and for something very fresh. We had an extremely hot summer here, and that's why I actually made this dress, because I felt all of my dresses were rather fitted and I wanted something really breezy. And of course light colours are better in the summer as well. And so the thing is, it's very difficult to find a light coloured fabric that is also very lightweight, that isn't see-through. It's actually impossible, especially in natural fabrics, I find. So I had to strike a balance between the colour that I really wanted to be light and the fact that I still wanted this fabric to be opaque. So that's why the fabric is a little heavier, a little thicker than I would have wanted actually. I purchased the fabric locally at my local fabric shop here, which is Toto, in the centre of Montpellier, and but so I had qualms while making it that it was going to look huge on me and that I was going to look huge in as a result. And when I finished it, I thought it would look better with a belt to cinch the waist in. But eventually I actually really like it, and I haven't been wearing it with a belt. I just have been wearing it as it is, and really enjoying wearing it and feeling great in it. And you know, if I look a few pounds heavier in it, I don't really care actually, you know, as long as I feel great in it and I feel comfortable. I mean, you know, what's the problem with that really? So and I'm not even sure I look that much heavier in it anyway. But yeah, I really like it. I'm very happy I made it. I really like Deer & Doe patterns. I think to me they're one of the best independent pattern companies out there. They are so, there is such an attention to detail in their designs and in the instructions and in the finishing touches. So it was, you know, I think it was a medium in terms of sewing level. It was a medium pattern, and you definitely had to take your time with the bodice, the colour, and also making sure the gathers were very even. But it has pockets as well, actually. Not that that is a hugely important thing for me, actually, to be honest. I just, yeah, well, more on that in a minute, but yeah, I really, really do like Deer and Doe designs, and I think they're getting better and better, actually, over the years. Yeah, about pockets, I know it's super trendy to have pockets in dresses for saris anyway. It seems to be always the ultimate thing to have pockets in your dresses, but I don't use these pockets, to be honest. I guess it's nice to be able to put your hands in them, but they do add, especially for summer dresses, I find they do add a little bit of extra bulk, and I just never use them. I just wouldn't put anything in the pockets. You know, coats are a completely different matter, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. For me, it's not a must-have, and it certainly is, you know, a bit of extra work. It breaks the line a little, I think, of the skirt, actually. So actually, for the dress that you can see in the background that I'll be talking about later, it is supposed to have pockets, but I actually omitted them because I realised I would never ever use them, and the fabric is super thin, so it would actually probably show. So yes, so that is my Myosotis dress. Myosotis means forget-me-not in French. I know it's a really a true mouthful for non-French speakers, this one. So next I made, just before school started, I made a pencil case for my daughter out of two fabrics I had in my stash, two quilting fabrics from Petit Pan, which is a French fabric company, and I absolutely love their prints. They're very jazzy and fun, and I had a few fabric cuts in my stash of small cuts, and so my daughter chose them, picked them because they're blue and orange, and she loves blue, and so I don't have the pencil case because obviously it's at school with my daughter this morning, but she really loves it, and it's very, very her, and I know it really contributed to help her prepare for her big first day at school in September. So she started big school here in September, which is one of the reasons why I've been so crazy busy, actually, because the schedules are different, and typically last year I used to record my episodes at the end of the day before I fetched my daughter from school, but I now fetch her 1 hour earlier, you know, because the schedules are different. And so it means I don't have that extra hour in the evening to podcast or sew or work, obviously. Most of the time it is work. So I you know, it's meant a lot of adjustments in my own schedule to make everything work. But yeah, the podcast had to go for a while. So yes, she absolutely loves it, and she's super proud to have her own unique pencil case. And I used a tutorial from a French blog from Les Lubies de Louise. Louise is a lovely French sewing blogger, and she's also published a book on, I think, sewing tutorials for, you know, sewing for beginners in French as well. And she's lots of tutorials on her blog, really well-made tutorials for, you know, cases or, you know, easy projects. And she's a really, really lovely and cheerful person, very, very inspiring. And so yeah, she had this lovely case tutorial with, you know, a boxed pencil case for a boxed pencil case, and a little bit of ribbon as an added detail, really delicate and fun detail. And it was a lovely tutorial, and yeah, so that was a really special project to do, and yeah, I had a lot of fun, you know, pairing the fabrics and the zipper, and yeah, and of course I did all this with my daughter. We picked the zipper together, she picked the little bit of ribbon that she wanted from my stash, so it was absolutely lovely. So my next make I also made around that time because I wanted a new dress to wear to work, to celebrate the beginning of the year, and so I made a, you know, TNT pattern, meaning a tried and true pattern, which is New Look 6643, which is a dress I've made, I think I've made 5 or 6 of them now. My first one I made in 2006, I think. And it is a little sheath dress, and I absolutely love it because it really fits me well, because it has lots of darts. So you have the bust darts obviously, but also waist darts, and then you have back darts as well, which for me, for my shape, is really important because I have a very curved back and a really narrow back as well. So I love this pattern because it fits me really, really well. So for this version, I wanted some sort of a edgy take on the little black dress, and so I used black denim. So it's a little bit edgier, you know, than your regular classy LBD. And I absolutely love this dress. It's a perfect classic dress to go to work. I did do something different from the original design because I, let me show this to you. For the finishing of the neckline, you're supposed to use a facing that is a part of the pattern. I decided to go with a bias tape facing. I absolutely love this finish. I think it's very, very neat. As you can see, it's, you know, instead of using the facing that is part, you know, that is a pattern piece, you cut out some bias binding, and well, it's very easy to find tutorials online for that. And I really like how neat it looks from the inside and the outside. So you just have a line of stitching here on the outside. So yeah, it's actually denim with a little bit of elastane in it, which makes it even more comfortable. I really feel super powerful in this dress. It's a really great dress if you have you know, a work meeting or you just want to feel super confident. I really love it. So after this, I made, after this actually I didn't sew for quite a while because I just didn't have the time. And then I made this cardigan, which I made for the Cozy Cardi Along, which is organised by the Stitch Sisters and Amanda I Sew A Lot. I absolutely love Amanda. She's just wonderful. She's super inspiring, super productive, despite having 2 twins. I just love what she makes, and so yeah, so just a few words about this cardigan. So even though I'm sure you know, those of you who sew probably know about this cardigan, but it's so it has this long band around for the finishing. Everything is finished with a band actually, which makes it really an easy sew. It's a very fast and easy sew. I think that the only thing that took a bit more time was the pockets actually, because you want them to be really perfectly, you know, perfectly straight and have the points of the, you know, corners really crisp. So that's the only thing that took a little bit of time, especially, you know, when it's a bit more difficult to make crisp edges with jersey fabric. But apart from that, it went together super fast, and it's a, I can't believe I didn't even say it's a pattern by Helen's Closet, who is the co-host of the Love to Sew podcast, which is one of my favourite audio podcasts. They're absolutely wonderful. Caroline and Helen are really, really so fun and inspiring. I had been wanting to make a Blackwood ever since it actually came out, so for quite a while. And I love it. I really, really do love it. I made the sleeves extra long. Actually, the sleeves are extra long in the design. I didn't shorten it. I didn't shorten them despite my being so small myself, so short. And I love them. I love how cozy they are. And the fabric I used for this is a French organic fabric from a French online shop, which is Bio Tissu. They have a lovely selection of ethical, ecological, organic fabrics, you know, with the origin completely traceable. The only thing is they don't have prints, or they have hardly any prints, and they don't have many colours. But they had this lovely powder blue, and of course they had the white, the black as well. I think they had the white as well, and some sort of I think a taupe or a beige. And so I got this. This is interlock actually, so it means, you know, it's a two-sided jersey, so it's a little bit thicker, which I found was great for this particular cardigan, and it's a very stable fabric, so it was super easy to sew. It's very, very, very soft, and as you can see, it's got a lovely drape, but it still has some, like, it's still stable. So I think it's the best of both worlds, really. I really like it very, very much, and yeah, I really love this combo, as I said earlier, of this stripy dress with the cardigan. And what I hadn't anticipated about this cardigan is how well the long version would go over dresses. So I was a bit hesitant to make the long version because I'm so short. I'm not even 5'1", so I just thought maybe the long version would be ridiculously long on me, but in fact when you wear it over a dress it's super pretty because it's short, it's the same length as my typical dress length. So I actually think it's a really nice combo, and I really want to make another Blackwood with my black organic interlock, which is right here. I want to make a black Blackwood out of this to wear over my cocoa dresses. I think it is going to be wonderful, especially my blue cocoa dress, and maybe also even that actually. That would look really nice. So it's a nice layer, you know, short of wearing really warm woolly hand knit cardigan. It's a great transitional layering piece, really. So this definitely corresponds to a decision I've made. Of course, you know how important it is to me to use natural fabrics and preferably ethical organic fabrics, and so that is why I purchased these two fabrics this autumn, because I did realise in the autumn that so I had a major cull of my wardrobe. I've been culling out my wardrobe regularly, and it's reached a point where I've even been donating handmade clothes. You know, most of my ready-to-wear clothes I have donated long ago. I'm really just keeping pieces that I absolutely love, even though they're ready-to-wear, but that, you know, that I purchased years or even decades ago. And so I have reached a point when I'm actually starting to donate handmade clothes that I just don't feel attracted to anymore, that I just don't think that, you know, fit my lifestyle anymore, or my style more. My lifestyle hasn't changed that much actually, but my style definitely has, because I started sewing in 2004 actually, so I was 23 and I'm now 37, and obviously, you know, my style is allowed to change. So I've definitely, you know, donated quite a few of the t-shirts, especially the tops that I made, and also, you know, just the styles change. I mean, even though you don't want to embrace fashion, and I'm definitely not a good fashion follower, I'm just completely out of the loop most of the time about what is trendy, but, you know, definitely a decade and a half ago, the t-shirts we tended to wear tended to be a bit short, a lot shorter than today, and so I just don't feel like wearing them anymore. It's just not my style anymore, so I have donated these. And so I realised when I swapped my cold weather clothes from my warm weather clothes a month ago or so, I realised that I really didn't have a lot of separates and tops especially, and that it was actually reaching, I really needed a few more, really. And also in terms of, you know, light layering pieces, I was still wearing cardigans. I'm still wearing cardigans that I purchased way before I started sewing. Honestly, some of the things I've had since I was in my very early 20s, because it's still in good condition, or, you know, especially, you know, very simple black cardis. But I would like to have handmade versions of these, so that's what I'm hoping to do. So yes, as you will see in my upcoming projects as well, a lot of, you know, I have been planning towards tops rather than dresses. Even though I love to make and wear dresses, I really need a few more dressy tops for work. So this actually leads me to my next project that I finished recently, which is a blouse, which I made very recently, and from another pattern which I'd been wanting to make for a long time, and I'm realizing you're not going to see anything on camera from the details because the print is rather busy, so you can't see all the details in real life, but you won't be able to see much, I'm afraid, from the camera. But this is a French pattern which is called the Blouse Indispensable, from a very small company. I'm not even sure you can say it's a company, Delphine et Morisette, and she sells her patterns directly from her blog, and her patterns are hand-drawn, so you get the PDFs, the patterns are hand-drawn, but it's very easy to purchase the patterns from her blog actually, because you know there's the PayPal function, so it was a very smooth process. And I really like the finished result. She's a pattern designer that is rather popular among French makers. My friend Lise made quite a few of her blouses as well. I'm not sure she made this one, but she made the brune and I think the rousse or the blonde? The rousse, I think, which are summer blouses. One of them, the brune one, is really lovely. I would really like to make it as well because it has these lovely ruffles at the top of the shoulders. It's a really lovely one. Coucou Lise! But yeah, it's Lise keeps inspiring me constantly. She's my best source for stalking pattern designers, you know, especially French pattern designers. So yes, I really felt like I needed to mention her here because I think she is most probably the person who introduced me to this pattern designer. So the Indispensable blouse is loose fitting blouse, which is a very trendy style in France. It has been for quite a few years now. So it's made in a woven fabric. And what I love about this one, so you have a very similar pattern, which is La Blouse Marthe by République du Chiffon. Which I made actually in the past, and it is extremely loose fitting, and it has a ruffle all around the bottom of the blouse, and I do like mine, but it's really super wide and there is so much fabric in there. I do feel quite swamped when I'm wearing it. I still wear it because I absolutely love the fabric that I used. It was a viscose from See You at 6, but you know, I definitely need to wear heels with it to look just a little bit taller, but yeah. So this one I like a lot better actually. So it's the same kind of design, so the fit is a bit it's still loose but not quite as loose as the Marthe blouse, and you have 3 variations for the bottom ruffle. You have the full ruffle all around, just as in the Blouse Marthe. Then you have what I did, which is just ruffles at the sides. You know, so the front and the back are completely flat, and you just have the ruffles at the sides, which I find is so cute, and it just adds the right amount of detail without being too much, you know, too much fabric for me. You do need to pay attention because you do need to, you know, it's a bit tricky to sew the right angles, because you really do need to sew your piece here at right angles from the main body. So you do need, it's a little bit fiddly for this, but apart from that, and the fabric was a bit of a pain to sew actually, it was super slippery, but apart from that, it's a lovely design. And so the last version, you have the ruffle starting, so the front is flat, like here, then you have the ruffle starting at the side, just as here, and then it runs all along the back of the blouse, which is also a lovely version, I think. So it's a great pattern, this one. I really want to make it again. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but I used also bias facing for this. So it's finished with bias tape at the inside, which I really like. I think it's what the pattern tells you to do actually. And I cut my sleeves shorter. I made 3/4 sleeves. I think you have either a choice of short sleeves or long sleeve, I think, long sleeves, and I really wanted short sleeves. So that's what I did, because, you know, to make up for the fact that you have a lot of fabric in it. I really do like 3/4 sleeves. I think this suit my figure better than full sleeves, and you know, they're less fabric. So I really love this, and the fabric is really special. It's a viscose that I got a year and a half ago, when I first met Lise, who is again Lise Taylor. I met her in Lyon, where she lives, in May, not this year, the previous year, in May 2017. And we went to visit one of her favourite fabric shops in Lyon, and I picked this, which was a cut. So it was, I think it was a 1.5 meter cut, pre-cut from you know, this is a fabric that is remnants from a couture house. I can't remember which one. Again, I'm really terrible with, I think it was Armani. I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, but and I like this as well. There is definitely so it is viscose, so it's not the most sustainable fabric out there, but buying remnants from a sewing, you know, a couture house company, or, you know, a ready-to-wear company is actually rather sustainable, because, you know, instead of chucking them out, you get to buy it and to use it. So I think it's great, and I really like it, and it reminds me of that lovely time I met my friend. And so to me, this is actually the Lise blouse. This is how I refer to it in my mind when I wear it. And so yeah, lovely blouse. I've been wearing it a lot to work already, and I definitely need to make more of these. So my last make is a very recent one. I haven't even photographed it yet for the blog or for Instagram, and it is the dress you've been seeing in the background. So here you go. So to be honest, I've had a very bittersweet experience with that dress. So I absolutely love the finished result. This is one of my most treasured fabrics. I've had it for 2 years, I think, and I just kept waiting to find the perfect project to make something out of it. It is a viscose by the Belgian company CU6, which I mentioned earlier, and I really love their prints, and this fabric company. So yeah, I purchased the fabric 2 years ago, and it has this little, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but so you can see here the little triangles, the little flames. Hopefully you can see that they're actually metallic, so like a copper, they look like copper metal. So that's a nice little touch, I think. I'm not much for golden metal actually, or anything golden, you know, golden jewellery, got golden piping, which is super popular, at least among French makers. But I do like this. I do like this. I think it's just the right touch. So this dress is, okay, let me see. Yes, that's better. So this dress is the Clarisse dress by Chez Machine Patterns, so another French pattern company. I hadn't realised before I started recording, but actually almost all of my makes here come from French patterns or French tutorials, so that's really fun. Which I hope is helpful for you actually. I hope it helps you discover or rediscover pattern companies that you may not know of. So this has French and English instructions like Durando. The blouse I showed you earlier doesn't have English instructions for sure, but it's you know, if you're experienced in sewing, you would have no problem figuring out how to make this without instructions. That's a sure thing. And it does have diagrams. Yeah, so you know, if you're interested, you can you know, this is also written in English. So I had a very hard time with this dress. So it is a dress that I've been again inspired to make by my friend Lise Taylor, and it's one of these dresses that I've been wanting to make for a long time, and I thought this would be the perfect design for this fabric. So it's a high-waisted dress, not quite empire waist, but high-waisted dress with these box pleats for the waist shaping. You also have box pleats at the back. You have two choices of neckline, either a heart-shaped one, which is not my thing, or this wide scoop neckline. You have a, so you are supposed to have, so I'm going to show you the pattern actually. So the pattern comes in this very big envelope, and you are supposed to have, because in this drawing shows short sleeves, but the drawing here shows long sleeves. Okay, and this is a pattern, and this is a paper pattern. So I obviously, buying a paper pattern, thought all the pattern pieces would be part of the paper pattern. That's what you expect, isn't it? However, when I actually received the pattern, I realised some of the pattern pieces were part of a supposedly third, so you have two paper plates here with the patterns, and you are supposed to have a third one online with the lining and the long sleeves. So I figured, okay, the long sleeves are optional, I get that. And so I also figured the lining was optional, because if the lining wasn't optional, why wouldn't you put it in the actual pattern pieces, right? So the thing is, when I actually started making it, so first of all, I couldn't find anywhere online on the website, and I searched for a long time. I couldn't find this supposedly downloadable third pattern plate. So I couldn't find the pattern for the sleeves or the lining. So I thought for the sleeves thing, it was okay, I could, use another sleeve pattern and make it work, which is what I did. It was still annoying, but, it still worked. But the lining, I figured, must have been optional, since you don't have it at all. And actually, when you look at the instructions, you are supposed to have the bodice completely lined, so you have a facing, and then the bottom part of the bodice is also is a lining piece inside in the inside. So that was a bit annoying, to be honest, because I usually purchase PDF I often purchase PDF patterns, but this time I really wanted to splurge. I also wanted to support the designer, who is a lovely person, and so I wanted to get the paper pattern. So I just made it work without the lining. I just used the facing, which was part of the pattern, and didn't line the bottom of the bodice. And for the sleeves, I used another pattern and adjusted it to this pattern, and it did work. Actually, I ended up doing box pleats as well. So hopefully you can see the box pleat right here, which actually I think it is a nice detail, because you do have box pleats at other places in the garment. So you also have box pleats at the back here. So that was one problem, and the other major problem was with the sizing. So I read a lot of blog posts or Instagram posts about this dress. And typically people said that they had gone up, or wish they had gone up a size, because the width of the fabric here, which in French is called carrure, and here is translated as front chest width, is a major measurement. So the pattern does stress the importance of this measurement, to use this measurement to figure out your size. Or maybe Aurélie mentions it in her own blog post. But yeah, a lot of makers actually mentioned that it was a bit too tight here. And so I actually measured myself really accurately. I asked Seb, my husband, to measure my front chest width, so which is the point from here to here, and then the back chest width as well. And my results were really, really strange if you looked at the measurements of the pattern. So my back width, sorry, was I think it was even shorter than, even lower than the minimal back width here, which is for a 32 size, so for a 76 centimeter bust, which I'm not at all. So my back, I do know I have a very narrow back, so I wasn't that surprised there. But what really surprised me is that my front chest width was, like, put me very, very high up in the measurements. I think it actually put me in the 42 bust size, and I'm a 36, 38 bust size. So I was really confused about that. I typically do cut out my back pattern pieces one size down from my front pattern pieces. That is something that I typically do because I've found that is how patterns fit me best. I have a really weirdly narrow back, but here there was such a huge discrepancy between the two, and so I ended up cutting out, I ended up making a toile, cutting out the size 40 for the front, knowing also that in terms of my bust, it would just mean a bit more ease, but it wasn't drastically different from my bust size, and it just didn't work at all. So what it meant is that the whole neckline was gaping horribly. It was definitely too big here, but the biggest problem wasn't at the width here. It really was at the top, at the neckline. Everything was gaping, and there was way too much fabric around here, especially at the shoulders, and weirdly the back also was way too big, even though I had cut the size I expected, and so a much smaller size, but the back was very wide on me. Typically what I get when I buy ready to wear. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to sew, is that when I buy ready to wear, if it fits me in the bust, then the back is going to be huge on me, really gape on me like this, with loads of, very baggy on me between the two shoulders. And so that typically was the result I got here. So I had to completely reassess everything and redraw everything to make it work for myself. So I'm so surprised with these, the measurements that I used here to get this design, to figure out the sizes, because I don't usually have this many problems with sizing. I've been sewing for 15 years, so I know my size, I know how to work around patterns based on their measurements, and it's very rare that I have problems, to be honest. I'm not saying I fit into the standard sizes. It's not the case. I have a very narrow back. I have a fuller bust than I have hips, so it does mean I do have to make adjustments. Patterns do not fit me out of the box at all, but I'm so used to making them, that to me it's definitely not been a problem so far. But here it just didn't make sense. I mean, the fact that I had to cut out a size 40 just didn't make sense. And actually I cut a size 40 knowing that if I went by my measurements I should cut out a size 42, which is just never something I've done, ever. And the rest of, the strange thing is the rest of the measurements, so the bust, the hip, the waist, put me at 36. So yeah, it's very strange. This width here was very strange, in fact. So in the end I do really like the dress I made, and as you can see I added some piping here to match the little copper flames. So I added some orange piping. I'm going to show this to you. So I added this piping at the waist because that is the detail I absolutely love about this dress. It is this rounded waist that goes up in the middle. I think it's super elegant and different, and that's really what I liked about this dress, that and the box pleats for the, for the waist shaping. So yes, that was definitely a tough nut to crack for me, that one. And I do like the finished dress. I think I'm going to wear it a lot with dark tights and small small heels. I have boots with a bit of a heel. I think it's going to be really elegant. I made it a little longer as well. The initial dress is rather short, a bit too short for my liking. But I'm not sure I'll be making another one anytime soon. I really was hoping to have a few of these because, again, I really like the shape, the style of this, scooped waist. It is definitely different and, I think really elegant, especially with the piping. But yes, I think I'm going to focus on blouses for a little while. So yeah. If you want to make this one, be very, very careful about the sizing of the top of the bodice. And also, I have to say, there are two versions of this. So the original dress, the version one, my friend Lise, that is the version that she used. So her dress looks rather different from mine. It has a lot more ease. I think the bodice is really the bodice is different as well. Precisely these measurements, but I think the first version had a lot of problems for the larger sizes, and so a lot of people had complained, and so they revamped the pattern, and they regraded the pattern actually, and changed a few things, and so this is actually version 2. So that is something to bear in mind if you look online and on Instagram. If you do a search on Pinterest or Instagram for people who have sewn this, be careful, look at the dates, because if it's earlier dates, the design, the version they will have used is going to be different from this one, which is, the skirt is definitely narrower, and I think, there has been some work done with the grading, which may work for some, maybe works much better for larger sizes, but definitely doesn't work as well for smaller sizes. So do bear this in mind. But again, apart from this, it's I really do like the shape. I think I'm going to wear it tons. So yeah, in the end it worked out. but yeah, definitely wasn't my most enjoyable make of the year. Shall we say? So that is all for my finished makes, and I know it's been a lot, and now I wanted to talk about my current projects, or rather our current project, because my daughter has been busy sewing lately. So just after last winter there were sales in one of my local fabric shops, not Toto but a smaller one which also sells yarn, which is Un Ouvrage, and they also have lots of lovely quilting cottons. And so they had a sale on their Christmas fabrics, like you do in early January, and so I purchased a panel to make an advent calendar for my children. So it's already cut out, but you have this panel, and then you have these stripes, and you sew them onto the panel to make pockets. And my daughter was very excited about this, but the day I set out to cut it out, she actually told me, well, why don't I do it, Mummy? I want to make it myself. And so that's what she's been doing. So she cut out all of the little pieces, and so you have some that go vertically here, and so these are going to be sewn, so they had to be cut separately, and then you have the horizontal strips, which are these ones, which are going to be sewn on top of the squares here. And so she cut out all of the squares or stripes, and she also top stitched the top for the finishing. And as you can see, she did a marvelous job with this. Her stitching is really, really very straight, and she's been doing this completely on her own. So it's the first time. It's the first time that she's actually handling the sewing machine completely on her own. Until then, I was helping her feed the fabric under the foot of the machine so that it would, you know, she would sew straight. But now she has started with this. She actually was feeding the fabric completely on her own under the, you know, into the feed dogs, and she was so happy to see how much progress she's been doing, and I was as well, of course. So she's very, very excited about this. So now what we need to do is, I still do the ironing to, you know, because I need to tuck this in, you know, tuck this under and here as well. And then we're going to top stitch this onto the main panel. We also have a fabric for the back, which is this one. Which works really well, I think, even though we won't be seeing it, but never mind. But I think it works really well, and so she's super, super excited, and I'm so happy because it really was her idea. I don't want to push her into sewing, you know, so I didn't want to pressure her into getting back to sewing, but it really came from her, so that was really lovely. She also wants to make fabric pouches to package our gifts in this year for my family, for her cousins especially. She has a lot of cousins, so we have a pile of gifts for the cousins, and she again, that was her idea. She said, well, why don't we sew pouches? And yeah, and I told her it was a great idea because it was a lot more ecological, because then the pouches were reusable versus, you know, wrapping paper that gets trashed. So she's super into ecology actually, and so yes, I'm super excited about this as well. Yeah, so that's a really fun project that she's been doing. I think we'll be doing more of it this weekend. I think we'll be finishing it this weekend actually, since the beginning of Advent is next week, isn't it? Which is completely crazy. So in terms of my current projects, I have just cut out an Oldayu dress. So this is going to be my third Oldayu dress. I have a quarter sleeved one that I absolutely love. It's one of my absolutely favorite dresses to wear to work, to wear in transitional weather, and so I've been wanting for a while to you know, pair this specific fabric with this dress, and I am finally doing it. It's one of these fabrics that I've been hoarding because I love it so much. So it has a very dark blue background with these beautiful flowers. So it's a cotton knit, obviously. And so I am using the Oldaya pattern for the top of the dress. So the Oldaya dress is an amazing pattern. Again, it's bilingual, or even trilingual. I think it's Spanish, French and English. And so it has loads of variations in terms of the skirts and the bodice and the sleeves. And my favourite bodice is the wrap over bodice. Because I really love wrapped dresses, but this is great because you just have the bodice that is wrapped, and so you don't have to fiddle with the skirts, etc, etc. And so for the skirt I'm not using the pattern because the pattern for the full skirt is very, very full. It has several panels and it's a little bit too full for my liking, so I'm using another tried and true pattern for the skirt, which is the Hot Patterns Cosmopolitan dress, which I've had for eons, literally, when it came out. I don't know, in 2007 probably. So yes, I really like the skirt in there. I really like this dress actually also. And so I decided to cut out the skirt in this. Also, it meant that instead of having several panels that would break out the print, I would have larger tartan pieces. You basically cut out a back and a front, so I felt this would be better for to show off the print. So yeah, that is my next finished project for sure. Also, I don't know why, because this is not typically how I roll, but I have had a Clio dress in denim, so by Tilly and the Buttons, cut out for months and months, and I'm not sure why I don't make it up, sew it up. I really don't know, because it would be great for now, you know, with tights and a cardi. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just not inspired at all to make it. I don't know, but I will eventually, you know. I'm not sure why, it's just languishing in a corner of my sewing turret. So I really need to finish this video quite soon now because the clouds are getting darker and darker, and I know very soon we will be in darkness here in Montpellier. So I wanted to share my future plans though, because I do have I have purchased a few patterns and I have a few plans that are making me really excited. So first of all, as I told you, I realised I needed some more tops in my wardrobes, so I've been looking for patterns for blouses, for pretty blouses. I've also been, and as I told you also earlier, I've also been on the lookout for really ethical, organic fabrics, ecological fabrics. And so I did purchase a beautiful, beautiful fabric, which is by Les Trouvailles d'Amandine, and it is a cotton crepe, which is super exciting because it means you have the drape of viscose, but in a much more sustainable fabric. And I do love viscose, as you know. I know the making process, the manufacturing process of viscose is not eco-friendly, but it does have the, you know, as opposed to polyester, it does have the advantage of being biodegradable. So it's not going to end up, you know, end up in a landfill and, you know, disintegrate within centuries, during centuries. So that is a plus, and I really do love viscose. It makes for such elegant clothes, really. So Les Trouvailles d'Amandine, which is a French company, very, very keen on producing completely traceable fabrics that are made, you know, as you know, within as close of a range as possible, and in a very sustainable and ethical way. And so she was able to create this cotton crepe, which has the same kind of drape as a viscose or a crepe, a polyester crepe, but in cotton, and it's actually organic cotton, so it's not see-through at all. It's, you know, so, you know, I was telling you earlier that it's very hard to find a natural fabric that is really lightweight, that isn't see-through. Well, this one is, and it's this gorgeous aubergine fabric. Hope you can see this in its true colour. It's a gorgeous aubergine fabric. It's called Nightshade, and I absolutely love it. So I really wanted something special, to make something special, and actually I wanted to make a Clarisse dress out of this as part of my wardrobe, of new pieces for my wardrobe. And now I don't really want to make a Clarisse dress out of it. And so I found this pattern, which is not from an independent company, it's from Quick Sew, but I think it's going to be perfect. So the red version here, I think is going to be perfect with the little bell sleeves. I really love it. So it's Quick Sew 4215 if you're interested. And after that, as I told you, I've been looking up blouse patterns, and so I've purchased a couple. First of all, the Emma blouse by Coralie Bijasson. Hopefully you can see the diagram here. The patterns don't show, yeah, I think you can. The patterns don't show the you know, that's the only image you get of the pattern on the pattern packaging. I will say I'm not a fan of the packaging of the C'est moi le patron Coralie Bijasson patterns, but I do like her patterns. I've made the what was its name, Anastasia dress in the summer that I really, really liked, and I really like this as well. I think it's really elegant, this belted blaze. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. And then I got a Direndo pattern, which is their Irel pattern. So it's a little bit similar to the Susie blouse by Sew Over It, which I have made and I love. And I wanted something a little bit similar, but with a little more details, to be honest, because the Susie blouse is very nice, but it's super simple. But you have the same kind of colour as here. And so I like this one because you have the bust shaping, which is achieved with these gauzes, and I love this. I absolutely love this detail. Actually, another sewed pattern that I made with the Eve dress has this. Also, their penny dress has this shaping. The best shaping is achieved by, you know, gatherings just below the shoulder seam, and I just think it's, you know, it's a little bit retro, and I love it. So I'm really excited about this, and again, as I was telling you, I really do like Girando Patterns. To me, they're one of the top indie designers. So yes, and again, this is also in English. And as for Coralie Bigerson, I think I heard that she's starting to publish her patterns in English as well. Maybe her PDF patterns, don't quote me on this, but if you're really interested in her patterns, yeah, do try and take a look somewhere, and you don't speak French, do try and take a look somewhere, because I think she's in the process of translating her patterns into English as well. And finally, super excitingly, if you've followed me for a while, you know that my favourite pattern, yeah, I have two favourite pattern companies for children. They are Brindille and Twig, which is an American company, and then there is the French company, which is Icati, which is based in Lyon, and her patterns are in English and French, and I absolutely love her patterns. She just published, well, she is about to release a pattern in collaboration with my friend Liz Taylor, who has a little, she has two boys, and her youngest son just turned 1, and she invented this outfit for him, and I absolutely love it. So it's an outfit of a little sweatshirt and a matching cap, matching little hat with ear flaps. Super cute. And what I absolutely love is that you have several variations in the pattern, and one of them has fox details. So there's a little foxtail at the back of the sweatshirt, and the little cap also has fox ears and a nose, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to purchase fabric for this to make for my son, and I am super, I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great basic, this little sweatshirt, for little boys or girls, of course. It's a little bit different. It's not, you know, your simple like raglan sweatshirt that you can find, you know, in many pattern companies. It is different because it has this little flap at the front that makes, you know, putting this onto a little child really easy, because little children have really big heads. My son has a really big head. That was actually a huge problem when he was younger. We had to do a lot of physio to help him out with that. But yeah, anyway, so the pattern runs from I think newborn to 4 years. So yeah, I can't wait to start making this for my little boy. So yes, that is it, friends, for today. I do hope you enjoyed, and I really very much want to come back here sooner than later to show you my knitted makes as well. But yeah, it's been so crazy, and one of the reasons as well why it's been really crazy is that I've started singing again. So I used to sing a lot before I had my children. I sing soprano in a small choir, and the chef emailed me because she was short one soprano and she wanted me to take part in the Christmas concert. So I thought hard about this and I said yes, and it's a really hard one actually. It's a really very demanding concert. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of rehearsals, but I'm very happy to be back to singing and to be participating in this concert. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I've been rather absent as well, but it's making me very happy actually. So I really do hope I'll be back with you in not too long, and until then I do hope you're all cozy and happy, and that your making brings you joy. Bye bye!